Hi guys. Just a quick little intro on this idea that I'm about to share is that what I'm about to share is something that I thought about and experienced a year ago, and I actually had written about it in a post on February 11th, 2020, last year. And I'll share with you the following experience. So it was Yud Shvat. I was at a Farbrengen, a gathering, a spiritual gathering. And the rabbi was talking about different attributes on how grateful we are and how special it is that we have a Rebbe like our Rebbe. And one of the things he talked about was to describe what type of Rebbe we have. The first lesson or teachings that he gave anybody once he had accepted the leadership was that he noticed that somebody was doing the evening prayers, davening Ma'ariv, and while he was davening, he had hit his chest during one of the prayers, which represents the idea of remorse. And the Rebbe told him that I don't know exact words that he said, but it was something along the lines of, during the evening, when it's dark, we don't meklapzechnish. When it's dark, we don't beat ourselves up, or we don't say tachnon at night. And the lesson that the rabbi was saying, that he was teaching us, that in our generation, it's important not to beat ourselves up too much. And as he said that, I literally wanted to jump out of my seat, because I'm kind of like feet on the ground, and I've been and I've experienced and sometimes still experience this idea of darkness. And I know that when things are darkest for me, and for those I see and speak to and try to lift up and be with, we beat ourselves up most when we're down. When things are dark, those who have experienced the heaviest traumas I see are the ones that feel the most shame and guilt. And as I thought that idea, I just wanted to scream it out on the rooftops and blast out the idea everywhere. This is everything that the Rebbe represents, and this is the truth, that it's not helpful, and in fact, the right thing to do today is to not beat ourselves up when we're down or when we're disconnected. It just simply doesn't work, especially today. And I started thinking further. And as my mind kept going, I thought to myself, if this is the Rebbe, what was the first mimer that the Rebbe ever said, which was Basi Lagani? If anybody's not familiar with any of the terms, please send me a message and I'll try to refer you to the actual teachings. Basi Lagani is a teaching that talks about the idea, many ideas, but one fundamental idea is that the purpose of why the world was created was so that God can have a dwelling place down here in a world that seems to be void of Him. And the lower we go, the lower that we can reveal His existence, the more of His intent will be fulfilled. So then I thought to myself, wait, if the darkest place is the world, and the darkest place in the world is my mind, because I think to myself, like, when I'm in a dark alleyway, I can make it 10 times darker. When things are bad, I can make them 10 times worse. So the darkest place in the world, for me at least, is in my own mind. So what would be for me revealing godliness in the darkest place in the world, which is my mind? And that's when it occurred to me, that first lesson that the Rebbe ever gave. Self-acceptance. If I can love and accept myself as I am, in the darkness, when it seems like I'm not worthy, if I can find self-acceptance there, and self-love and self-compassion, and not beat myself up in those darkest places, that would be not just the best thing that could happen for me, but that would literally be fulfilling the entire purpose of why the world was created. So with such an idea, I was just like, I was going crazy. I just wanted to write it down and share it, and then maybe write something up and share it with people. I didn't end up writing anything, but I did go to my therapist's office the next morning, and I shared with him this idea. And I told him how I wanted to share it with the world. And then he said, wait a second, why are you so quick? Like, why do you need to share it so much? Because I felt like I needed to share it so intensely. So he challenged me and he said, what about first internalizing it yourself? And I didn't end up sharing it. I didn't end up sharing it. It's a year later, but I did. If you look on February 11th, there's a post which is titled "The Value of a Gem." You know, is it really valuable if nobody hears it? If nobody knows that you have it? I would love to share it now, but just to save time, I encourage you to pause this, just go back and see this post. This idea is more relevant today, and it becomes more and more relevant every single day as I live and as I see for myself and as I sit with others. And what I see, the most common things that comes up is like somebody comes in to meet with me in a coaching session or in a conversation, and they say, I want to change this in this area of my life. I need to, right? And in conversation, sometimes, if it seems right, I will offer the possibility of maybe that self-acceptance is the actual way of changing. And that's when a lot of people can find it so hard to accept that. Like, wait. If I accept myself as I am, then I'm just going to keep on, there's a fear that I'm just going to keep on doing it the way it is, and I'll never change. But what I've seen is, from my own experience and from others, is that the very process of self-acceptance. So for example, I mean, this is like literally the most basic thing. If I can, anxiety is not necessarily a problem for me. The only time anxiety or any depression or any type of reality at all becomes a problem is when I'm intolerant to that. So my problem is not my anxiety. My problem is that I'm being intolerant to that. So my problem is really the intolerance. What if I just tolerated anxiety? And I just said, it's okay to be here. Come. You're welcome. Take over. It seems like you know what you're doing. You're way more powerful than me sometimes. Just take me, and accept it and stop fighting. And what's ironic is that as soon as I accept it and I allow the anxiety to be there, the anxiety just minimizes. And then I'm able to continue. And that's just anxiety. But what about reality? Like I don't like a certain nature of myself, And so this neediness to get rid of it, and this intensity of intolerance becomes the very thing that pushes it away from me and pushes it out of reach. Like I recently saw a teaching that my coach was shared, and it was based on a teaching of the Tzemach Tzedek, is that when somebody says they need something, that itself is the indication that they're cut off from the source, because this neediness and survival and intensity and intolerance can only come from a place of cut off. But what if I'm connected? And what if the way to connect is to accept? Accept that exactly the way I am, exactly the way things are, exactly where I am right now is exactly the way it is supposed to be. And God runs the world. And there's something called Ashkacha Pratis, divine providence. Every single thing that happens in this world is for a purpose. When I bring that type of attitude and perception into my own mind, into my own psyche, and allow myself to accept myself, that in itself becomes the most productive state of mind I can be in, to do the very change and to accomplish the very things I want to accomplish in this world. So with that being said, I wish you a good Yom Tov, a happy Yud Shvat. May we all connect to the Rebbe's teachings, what the Rebbe represents, that no matter who you are in the outside or who you are in the inside, but in the depths of your inside, there is a place within you that is pure, whole, and the greatest source of everything you'll ever want, and the greatest source of who you are and your identity. So good Yom Tov and good Shabbos, and thank you for watching this.